Too many people associate retirement with the end.
I figure it'll be a little bit of a transition to try to slow down a little bit.
The number one question I have about retirement is having enough money to last.
In my mind, you start to look at it, that's an opportunity to do more of the things you want when you want to do it.
Make it financially able to do things that I enjoy.
Party.
Just financial security and enjoy my family.
More people need to go into it with their eyes wide open, understanding what is my plan, what do I want to do, and then how am I going to get there?
Will the rules change?
I have no real specific plan.
I'm planning for what the status is right now. I just hope it doesn't change drastically.
Welcome to the RetireTastic Show with JoAnn Regan, powered by the Retirement Income Store and brought to you by Financial Security Group of Arizona. In retirement, it's all about income. And today, you'll hear ideas, concepts, and strategies designed specifically to generate reliable retirement income. Now, here's the host of the RetireTastic Show, JoAnn Regan.
Today we're going to talk about why, as you are nearing retirement, it may be time to break up with the government when it comes to being a partner in your retirement. I'm so glad that you're joining me here today. Welcome to the RetireTastic Show, powered by the Retirement Income Store. And my name is JoAnn Regan, where my goal is to help you have a fantastic retirement. There is so much going on, and things are starting to really move and happen as we're getting into the fourth quarter of 2021. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on where you live, summer is behind us, and what a summer it was. Markets have rallied and dropped, and then rallied and dropped again. Biden and Congress pushed through maybe that $2 trillion spending plan, and then there's also been a few COVID variants that have made an ugly resurgence across the globe. Folks, this is just the beginning of a more debt-laden spending to come, borrowing from the future to give money away today. And today we're going to talk about how borrowing from the future is going to be critically important as we think about our tax situation. But more importantly, what can you do to protect your life savings from getting needlessly taken away due to higher taxes? And I want to tell you that we may be running out of time for some of the strategies that we really like to take advantage of and implement for clients. So as my listeners know, my practice, Financial Security Group, we're kind of unique. Most people are either do-it-yourself investors, kind of flying solo, or even if they have an investment broker, the broker only talks about investments with them. So if you have a tax question, they tell you to go see a tax professional. If you have an estate planning question, they say go see an estate planning professional. Well, here at Financial Security Group, we do it all: taxes, estate planning, and wealth management. As important as all those relationships are, shouldn't your advisor actually be able to provide some level of guidance on these topics? Unfortunately, nearly all of those nearing and in retirement that I speak to each week have been left behind as their investment broker either doesn't bring up these topics or pushes that responsibility over to someone else. My firm, Financial Security Group, we're definitely a little bit different. We're not just investment advisors, we're wealth managers. So what is the difference between an investment advisor and a wealth manager? Well, your investment guy or gal only talks investments. They pull out those mountains of charts and say, we did good or we did bad, but it's not my fault. That kind of commodity is really not important in today's society. There's no real value in giving only investment advice. A wealth manager like our firm, we help successful savers like you address several of the 5 financial concerns. And one of those we're going to talk about today. Those 5 financial concerns of successful savers like yourself are: 1, make smart choices with your money, and that's the investment side, but it doesn't end there. 2, mitigate your taxes. How do we pay less taxes now or over our lifetime? The government is going to be your biggest expense in retirement, and we're going to talk about that. The third one is transfer to heirs, the legacy that you want to leave. Do you have the right documents in place? Is it set up the right way to save money on your taxes, reduce legal and government fees? And then 4, you want to protect you and your assets from being unjustly taken by frivolous lawsuits. And 5, maximize charitable giving. If giving is important to you, how do we maximize that? Now, not all of these things that I just mentioned apply to everyone, but for those that have saved well, those are the 5 biggest concerns that they have. But today, we're going to focus on number 2, mitigating taxes. Knowing what we know about the past tax rates, the incredible debt spending that we're piling on due to the government response to COVID, which is currently over $5 trillion, with talks of even more going forward, and we know where tax rates have to head, right? They have to go higher, much higher. So how do we protect our nest egg from higher taxes? That's what we're going to dive into today. As we go through this topic about why you should break up with the government as your retirement partner, you may want to take a look at how you can get the government out of your retirement plan. And I can provide you with a complimentary commission report, and it's entitled Proactive Tax Saving Strategies. Again, Proactive Tax Saving Strategies. And this report will show you basically what happens with taxes if you do nothing versus the most tax efficient way for you to personally address it. So if you'd like me to email you this free commission report, just reach out to the show. There's no obligation and no sales pitch. My number is 1-800-FSG-7890. And that's that Proactive Tax Saving Strategy. Just give me a call if you want that complimentary at 1-800-374-7890. One of the unfortunate things, obviously, is that the Biden administration has stated many times that they intend to take our current tax code, tear it apart, and replace it with higher taxes for individuals and businesses. And that's a shame because right now we have a nice wide tax bracket. That means you can make more money and still be in the same tax bracket. And these are some of the widest tax brackets that we've ever had in the history of our country. So what does that mean? That means that as a married couple, you can make over $197,000 once we include the standard deduction and still be in the 22% tax bracket. That's phenomenal. That doesn't mean all of your income is taxed at 22% because we do have a marginal tax system. In fact, you're probably not even taxed at around a 15% rate. And quite frankly, these are some of the best rates for taxes that we've had since Reagan's 1987 reform. And before Reagan in 1987, I would say that since FDR, going all the way back to the 1930s, that's how much we have right now that we're working with as far as tax planning opportunity. And so what I'd like to talk to you about is leveraging the tax code in your favor through things like Roth Iras, proactive Roth conversion strategies, and maybe even cash value life insurance. These are 3 ways to maximize future tax returns, but also minimize a lifetime of taxes. Recently, America's foremost authority on IRAs and self-proclaimed tax guru, Ed Slott, was a guest on the Income Generation Program. And here's what he had to say about what he sees going forward with tax rates.
Well, the fact that Congress upended over 3 decades of established tax law makes you think, are these rules really good going into retirement and beyond? For example, they eliminated the stretch IRA, which affects estate planning for beneficiaries, and people make plans relying on this. So I have to tell you, it's an old CPA. I'm a CPA for those who don't know, an old tax adage. We always say tax laws are written in pencil. So you have to take that into account. And you really can't trust Congress to keep its word, especially when they need money. So you have to make sure your plan is resilient and can withstand maybe tax increases coming into retirement that you may not have expected.
Ouch. Ed is very plugged in, but really, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to think that taxes are going to be going up. Let's continue real quick with what Ed Slott also had to say about Roth IRAs and cash value life insurance for mitigating taxes.
Start whittling down that taxable IRA, maybe with Roth conversions, moving money to tax-free territory, or even with life insurance, which I think is probably the better estate plan and retirement plan, because I think, in my opinion, the life insurance plan, and I'm talking about permanent life insurance, has more stability and long-term staying power than the rules surrounding IRAs. Congress doesn't tinker with life insurance rules hardly ever, but IRAs are always up on the table because they know that money has not yet been taxed, but it will be. So they look at IRAs and 401ks, pre-tax money that has not been taxed, as money they can get their hands on.
Well, there you have it, directly from the lips of Ed Slott, who many regard as the tax guy to turn to for advice on minimizing your tax bill. And I'll tell you, with the Biden administration, it's going to be a strategy you want to take advantage of. And it's an absolute must, because this administration has already proposed not only higher taxes, but even bringing down the estate tax limits right now. So before we start talking about increasing income taxes, I want to talk about estate taxes. So on the estate tax front right now, it's about $11.8 million that's exempt from estate tax. So if you're married, you have almost $24,000 million of wealth that you can pass down without having to pay any federal estate tax. But that's changing. Biden's proposal could reduce it down to about $3.5 million per person, and that's going to include life insurance. Or it could be about $7 million a couple. And I know this doesn't apply to a lot of people, but I'm here to tell you that it's going to come down probably even further. We're actually expecting it to come down into the neighborhood of about $2 million a person when it's all said and done. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. But do you really want to take that chance with your retirement? And realistically, once you figure in your real estate, a small business if you have one, your pensions, your 401ks, your IRAs, throw in some life insurance, it's really not that difficult to get over that $1 million mark before the government starts looking for tax money on your estate, before it gets to go to those that you care about. So I just know that the tax need is going to be one of the greatest tax needs that we've had in the history of our country. And we need to look at where our debt and everything is right now, because that's where we're headed. More taxes. So what does that mean for you? That just means a lot of people have to do proper estate planning, but they also need to do proper income tax planning on their retirement distribution strategies. And that's where the Roths come in and the life insurance comes in. And it kind of brings us back to reality on where our wealth and legacy distribution mechanisms are going forward. The point I'm trying to make right now is you can't be on the sidelines when it comes to what you're going to be doing about your taxation in the future. If you've been listening to my radio show or reading some of the articles on the future of higher taxes, then you've probably been saying, I think I need to do something. And I think now is the time. You're listening to the RetireTastic Show, and we'll be right back.
This is the RetireTastic Show with JoAnn Regan, powered by the Retirement Income Store and brought to you by Financial Security Group of Arizona. If you're preparing to retire in the next 10 years, this message is for you. One of the biggest sources of income may be how you claim your Social Security. That's right, how you claim your benefits. Do you know your full retirement age? Do you know how much your benefits may be taxed? Do you understand how to claim on an ex-spouse, or that you even could? For your free, no-obligation Social Security Information Kit, call 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890. Sure, you could spend hours and hours searching around online, only to find some generic calculators that may not factor in inflation, tax implications, your marital status, and hundreds of other variables. If you call or stop into the Social Security office, they, by law, cannot advise you on which claiming strategy is best for you. For your free, no-obligation Social Security Information Kit, call 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890. Or visit us online at yourfsg.com. Remember the good old days when you could earn 5% on a bank CD? What if you could earn similar rates on interest and dividends to those CD rates? It's possible. And the income specialists at the Retirement Income Store can help you. We're a network of experienced financial advisors operating independently owned firms under the umbrella of the Retirement Income Store. This makes it simple and easy for you to find a retirement income specialist in your local area. Our advisors have helped hardworking Americans across the country invest and save for their retirement.
To learn more about the Retirement Income Store, call your local Retirement Income Specialist, JoAnn Regan of the Financial Security Group at 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890.
The Retirement Income Store, where retirees go for income. Do you understand the difference between investing for growth and investing for income? That's okay. Most folks don't. Investing for growth is your typical Wall Street portfolio, full of various stocks and mutual funds. The problem is, in order to physically obtain any real money that you can use for your day-to-day expenses, you have to sell them, which means you don't own them anymore. So now you either have far less to generate that growth, or worse yet, you don't have anything left to create more growth for next month's expenses. On the other side of the coin, when you invest for income, your hard-earned retirement dollars are invested in products that may provide cash put directly into your bank account month after month to help provide for your retirement. For your free, no-obligation Growth versus Income Information Kit, call 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890. To learn how to transform your high-risk, big-fee Wall Street growth portfolio into an income-generating retirement plan, call 800-FSG-7890 or visit us online at yourfsg.com. Welcome back to the RetireTastic Show with JoAnn Regan, powered by the Retirement Income Store and brought to you by Financial Security Group of Arizona.
Welcome back to the RetireTastic Show, and I'm JoAnn Regan, your host. So Social Security and Medicare are both a pay-as-you-go system. It's been funded as a pay-as-you-go for as long as we can remember. There's this $3 trillion trust fund out there, which basically represents all of the surplus since 1935 when Social Security came about. And all of that has been accumulated over the years, and it hasn't been paid out. But I'm understanding that there's a Supreme Court case out there, and the Supreme Court has decided that the federal government had every right to go in and spend that Social Security trust money any way they wanted, like any other federal tax. And basically, they've done just that. If you look at the Social Security Trust Fund, the only thing that's there is not a big pile of $3 trillion. It's something called STN, Special Treasury Notes. And all the Special Treasury Notes say is that the federal government took this much from the trust fund. It's essentially an IOU. And when it happens that more people are requesting benefits than the current tax revenue the federal government is collecting, then they are going to have to make up the difference. In other words, we have more going out than we have coming in. So if you're concerned about where taxes are headed and you want a proactive way to save tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands in optional avoidable taxes, I have something that I know you're going to find of value. It's a book called 3 Blind Mice, and it's written by my friend Scott McLean. Scott talks about the absolute need for your financial planner, your tax preparer, and your estate planner to be on the same page. If not, you're in for a disaster when it comes to overpaying your taxes in retirement. Again, the book is called 3 Blind Mice. Ask for it by name. And for the first 5 callers, there's no cost and no obligation. Just give me a call at 1-800-FSG-7890, and I'll get that book right out to you. Now, we also know that the current administration, they're also debating another $3 to $5 trillion infrastructure plan. When we say infrastructure, it's very loosely worded because it's loaded with even more pork barrel spending, non-infrastructural related projects. And what the worst part is, it's all borrowed money. We as a nation, we just keep going deeper and deeper into debt. The point is we have so much debt, a problem that unlike the government, we can't debt finance a retirement of baby boomers. Leaders actually have to collect tax revenue. The federal government can print money, but retirees cannot. So the Congressional Budget Office did an analysis recently, and they let us know, and they gave us some future tax projections and the ways to get the deficit under control. The future tax projections, what they look like for the upper and middle class, wow, I am really sorry to say it is not pretty. The report from the CBO is called Options for Reducing the Deficit 2021 to 2030. And it included not only raising potential income tax rates to reduce the deficit, but higher taxes on fuel, estate, alcohol, getting rid of itemized deductions, removing charitable deductions, and more. If it's good for you, the taxpayer, it's an option on the table to slash it as a benefit. I want to talk to the middle class right now. Listen to this. The future tax projection to reduce the deficit for those in the middle class was 63%. Think about that. In the middle class, the tax rate for the upper class was going to be 88%. So if you're wealthy, good luck. And if you're in the lower bracket, the lowest possible bracket you're going to be looking at is somewhere around 25%. So unless you're poor, you can expect large taxes for the rest of your life over the next 20, 30, and 40 years. So what can we do, or what should we do? These are the strategies that should absolutely be taken advantage of. And I want you to take advantage of them as soon as possible. And that's really what we're talking about today, how to mitigate taxes. Again, things like Roth Iras, life insurance, tax-deferred investing, different kinds of things that are tax advantaged, and lots of other accounts that can help you transfer wealth and wealth distribution and access those things going forward. We're going to have to start thinking about how we control our tax life as well as we do our financial life. If you remember, I just said that the top tax bracket is going to be 88%. That's incredible. And there's a lot of additional planning that can be done from an income and tax perspective, and also a legacy perspective all throughout life. Any advisor that tells you all they do is deal with stocks, bonds, and mutual funds or traditional money manager stuff, they're not necessarily doing what's best for you. That's the difference between working with a wealth manager, somebody who can manage the 5 aspects for you, or somebody that plays in the sandbox with investments only. This is an urgent message that things are already afoot on the changes on the tax side, and it's at an alarming pace and it's happening fast. Please take advantage of this last year of Trump's tax reforms and the schedules that are going to be coming out over the next few years. Let's see if you need a new strategy or a new plan for what's coming, because I want you to understand something. The changes that are happening are not small. With what we expect to come, because we do expect that as 65 million baby boomers retire, go on Social Security and Medicare, that we're going to have the largest tax change that we've ever had in the history of our nation. Therefore, things have to change. So, do you want the government's tax plan or yours? Let's get ahead of it. Let's get ahead of this change and let's figure out what's the best way to buy the government out at the cheapest tax rate that we can and take action today. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you're concerned about where taxes are headed and you want a proactive way to save tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in optional avoided taxes, I have a commissioned report that I'd like you to read, and it's called Proactive Tax Saving Strategy, and I will email that out to you at no charge. But you have to take the initiative and give me a call at 1-800-FSG-7890. You can accept the government's plan for your retirement and overpay in taxes for the rest of your life, or you can take control and with our help potentially save tens, if not hundreds of thousands in taxes over your lifetime. Give me a call to get that commission report, Proactive Tax Saving Strategies. I really want to thank you for listening to this show, and it's always a pleasure being with you. I look forward to talking to you next week. This is the RetireTastic Show, and I'm your host, JoAnn Regan, and I look forward to talking to you off the air. Take care.
That's all the time we have for today. To speak with JoAnn off the air, call 800-FSG-7890. And for more information about our program, visit yourfsg.com. The RetireTastic Show with JoAnn Regan airs Saturday afternoons at 1 and Sunday mornings at 8:30. To speak with JoAnn off the air, call 800-FSG-7890. That's 800-FSG-7890. Or visit us online at yourfsg.com.
Investment advisory services offered by FSG Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisory firm in the states of Arizona, Nevada, and California. Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm, is a sub-advisor of FSG Financial Services, Inc. FSG Financial Services, Inc. and Sound Income Strategies, LLC are not associated entities. FSG is a franchisee of the Retirement Income Store. The Retirement Income Store and Sound Income Strategies, LLC are associated entities.